Hello everybody, my name is Blue and welcome to Tiny Island Resort. This new series will be focusing on the new pack that is coming out in a couple of days, the Oceania pack. Now, this zoo is, well, a collection of islands which can be visited via boat, and since the Oceania pack is quite island themed, this island themed zoo will be adding all of the animals from the Oceania pack, which includes the Tasmanian devil, the kiwi, the little blue penguin, the quokka, and the spectacled fruit bat. Now, as you can see, it's quite a large island, or large, planned out land, I guess, for multiple islands. And this is because we won't only be having oceanic animals, but we will be having animals from islands around the world. And for this preparation video, we will be doing Madagascar, so the whole entirety of Madagascar. Now, the idea of this zoo is that it's miniature versions of all the famous islands, or islands that some animals in the game are found on. So it's a mini Madagascar, mini Tasmania, and so on. So we will be trying to get as realistic as possible when it comes to actually recreating its environment and even its regional environments and stuff like that, and also even the distribution of species. So I'll try to get the location of these species habitats similar to its distribution, although, you know, a lot of the times, especially on islands, the species basically live all over the island, since, you know, islands aren't really that big. So, but the next couple of episodes we will only be focusing on the oceanic animals from the pack. So we will only be focusing on the oceanic islands for the first 5 episodes, which are the Tasmanian devil for Tasmania, the little blue penguin and the kiwi for New Zealand, the quokka for Rotnest Island, and finally the exhibit animal, the spectacled flying fox, will be added to the Papua New Guinea island. And as I said, they will all be miniature versions. Obviously, I can't do a 1-to-1 scale of Papua New Guinea. That's insane. The map isn't even big enough for that, obviously. But yeah, miniature versions of all the islands. And this preparation video is quite, I guess, one of the bigger ones, since I think it is one of the bigger islands. It's the central island, Madagascar. I thought it's quite a fitting island as entrance, since Madagascar's really famous island, and we have a nice selection of animals in the game that live on Madagascar, actually 5 in total. We will have all 5 Madagascar species in this zoo. So that's the 3 lemurs and the Fossa. This entrance building is also inspired by architecture from Madagascar, although obviously with my own touch, but definitely inspired by that as well. And the entrance is via boat. The whole tour, or like the way you will be viewing many of these animals in this zoo, is via boat. I've never used boat tours before. Well, I have, but not on a scale like this, so it's going to be fun to mess around with that as well. And I hope there are some issues, well, some possible issues, and I hope they won't be an issue when it comes to actually having island exhibits, since, you know, you have to connect them with staff paths and stuff. So I'll get a way to fix all of that, but I'm not sure yet, but we'll see. And yeah, as I said, we have Tasmania. What else? We have the 2 islands of New Zealand, Quokka Island, sorry, Rotnest Island, that's it, and Papua New Guinea. But there are also other islands from around the globe. Madagascar, obviously, that's what we're building right now, but also islands from other Asian islands, or this, not other Asian islands, other African islands, or island, which is, I forgot the name, but, oh no, Aldabra. Obviously, how can I forget Aldabra? It's literally called Aldabra, named that all. Little tortoise is named after Aldabra Island. So yeah, we'll have Aldabra Island as well, and if you go to Asia, we have a couple of islands there, which just to give some examples, actually I'll try to name all of them. We have Borneo for like a good selection of animals. There's a lot of animals that live on Borneo in game. Sumatra, same thing. What else? Japan, we have the Japanese island. We have Taiwan, all this Formosan black bear. We have, is that all? I think that's all the Asian islands that I will be having in this zoo. If you move over to Europe, we have a nice selection as well. We have Great Britain for some generic, I guess, European animals like maybe the badger, the red deer, we'll see. We also have Crete, actually, quite an interesting pick, but I will be using the ibex, and I'll pretend it's a Cretan. Is it called the Cretan ibex? I think it's the Cretan ibex. I'm not sure, but there is a ibex species. Also, I'm not sure if it's a species or a subspecies. There is a Cretan species of ibex, so they look very similar, so that works. And I may do Malta since I just came back from Malta, and I'm really inspired. And I could have flamingos to Malta since there are occasionally flamingos. That's like the only Planet Zoo animal that's actually found in Malta. But yeah, we could also do Malta. Then if you go over to South America, we have the Galapagos Islands, obviously, and also the Falkland Islands, or the king penguins. And then North America is Greenland, that's it, I think. Yeah, I don't think another island. I could have done a Central American island like Cuba or any like Barbados, or there's a lot of Central American islands, but I chose not to since I don't really think there's an animal that really lives on those islands that we have in game. Only we had some more, New World monkeys that live in Central America, but hey-oh. This whole build, it's going to be a big project. As I said, we'll start with the Oceanic animals and we'll see how far we get later on with the other islands around the world. But anyway, now that I've explained a bit what this zoo will be, I can actually talk a bit about what I'm building here on this speed build, which is actually a harbour. I guess it's the entrance harbour to the boat tour, and well, there's going to be multiple harbours actually, because there's going to be multiple stops. The layout of the zoo is there's multiple smaller islands in the middle, with Madagascar in the center, which is a bit of a bigger island, and then there's going to be big islands on the outside, which kind of surround the smaller islands, so we kind of have like a lake. So, I mean, the big islands don't touch, but they're very close to touching, so you could say there's like a ring of land on the outside with the big islands, and then smaller islands spotted around. And just to keep in mind, these islands are not in scale of, well, each other. They're actually more based on the size requirements of the animals that will be placed or found on those islands. So yeah, that's why some island like Japan, for example, is the same size roughly as Aldabra. Well, not the same size, but they're, Aldabra is tiny and Japan is relatively big, so it doesn't make sense that they're this close in size. But just so you know, it's nothing to do with being in scale, it's just the fact that the animal actually has to be able to live on there. And if you'd have a Aldabra that's big enough, or Aldabra giant tortoise, then other islands would be absolutely massive. So it's just for simplicity's sake. And also all the outer islands, the ones on the outside, are also inflated and really large. We obviously can take up a lot of space. So the outside is basically filled up with land. So the outer islands like Greenland, which is an easy pick, it's a big island. Same with Borneo and Sumatra. Also United Kingdom, which, as I said, they're not in scale. The not United Kingdom, Great Britain, same thing. I know it's not, but you know what I mean. But yeah, Great Britain is roughly the same size as Greenland, which obviously doesn't make sense, but it's just for the fact that the outside islands are big. And then also Papua New Guinea's in the south. So they will be the surrounding islands, and the reason for these surrounding islands is, so if you're at like guest level, this is a mistake I made with a previous build where I had an island zoo where you can see the water end, because obviously it's not an ocean map. But by having these outer islands, they obstruct the water, so you can't see behind these big islands. So therefore, you obviously can't see the water end, which is, I guess it's basically a neat trick, basically learning from my previous mistakes. But yeah, and that's also why I have these big islands, and the islands will also only be, so these bigger islands, right, they will also only be able to be viewed from the inside of like the island circle. So the outside of these islands won't be accessible by guests. Obviously, if they were, then you can see the other side of the island, and then you could see the actual just ocean end, which I don't want. So all the big islands will only be accessible by one side. Anyway, so that's even more explanation of a bit of planning of this zoo. What I'm actually building right here is a little marketplace, and I actually recycled some market stalls from one of my other zoos. So it's an original build, it's just from one of my other zoos. I recycled them and placed them in here, since I didn't fancy building new market stalls. Also, previously you saw me building the dock, or the entrance to the boat ride, which is also inspired by Madagascar style ruins, kind of. And now big mountain range of Madagascar, because Madagascar has some mountains. Obviously not scale, I mean like not, yeah, obviously not the scale, also not the exact correct shape or whatever. I just know there is a mountain range in Madagascar which kind of separates the island in two very different climates, because this is actually quite interesting. I did my research for all the islands, and Madagascar being the first. I placed down all the baobab trees everywhere, as you can see, but later I discovered, I knew there was some like environmental differences, but later I discovered that baobab trees really only grow in like the southwest, since, I don't know, that's like the baobab tree climate. But the rest of the island don't really have baobab trees, so later on I remove a lot of them. So there's only really baobab trees in the west side of the island. What I did know though is that because of this huge mountain range, the west of the island is very dry compared to the east side of the island, basically because of the mountains separating these two climates, the way how the clouds move over it and stuff. Yeah, it's those kind of factors that basically cause these microclimates, I guess. Although you can't really call them microclimates since Madagascar is really big. But yeah, so the west of the island will have more of a grassland, shrubby climate, whilst the east will have a tropical climate. And here I'm adding Rotnest Island, since actually I started, it is quite a coincidence, but I started this zoo build before Oceanic Pack was announced, and I had no idea Oceanic Pack would be the next pack. But it's kind of like ideal, really, since it perfectly fits for the Oceanic DLC. So, but I had to add a new island, which is Rotnest Island, since I didn't expect the quokka to be added so soon, or just at all. So yeah, I added the Rotnest Island. Although you may have noticed that I already had Tasmania and New Zealand, despite not really having any of those kind of animals on those islands in game. That's because I just kind of expected them to add Tasmanian devils next, and kiwis. So I was just expecting it. I thought I might as well just add the islands. So if they add, Frontier adds these animals, then you know the islands are ready. And it was really a perfect timing. I'm not psychic. It's just a coincidence. But yeah, and obviously there are other animals in Tasmania, like for example the common wombat, and also the platypus, and I will be adding those on Tasmania as well. But yeah, obviously the Tazzies is like the big attraction there. So as you can see, the west of this island is a lot of shrubs. The Fossas live northwest. The red-ruffed lemurs live southwest. And yeah, it's very shrubby, but also it's a forested area. It's just more of a dry forest with baobab trees. The other side, which has the ring-tailed lemurs and the black and white ruffed lemurs will have a very, very tropical climate. So yeah, you'll see that as well. And I think we're nearing the end of the speed build. It's not going to be a walkthrough since this is just a preparation video and I really had to get it out really quick. I didn't really have time for a walkthrough. Same for a cinematic at the beginning. I'm sorry guys, there's no cinematic. I just really have to get this video out by today, so I don't really have a lot of time yet. But yeah, so I'm building a little viewing area actually for the Fossas as well. This is the only animal that is actually visible from ground level without using the boat tour on Madagascar. Obviously, a lot of the other animals on the other islands will be visible without using the boat tour, but in just this island specifically, the Fossa is the only visible one, okay? The other lemur species, you have to take the boat tour. But you have to take the boat tour anyway to get to the other islands in the first place. But yeah, so you'll pass by the lemurs anyway. But yeah, now this is the eastern side, and as you saw, I removed some baobab trees. Because actually there's no baobab trees, as far as I'm aware, that grow in the eastern side of Madagascar. So instead I'm trying to create this more tropical environment, and I did keep some baobabs, specifically to the south and to the north, since that's like close to the west, I guess, because it wraps around the it kind of wraps around the mountain range, I guess. Although it's not, as I said, it's not completely accurate. And then finally, after adding all the tropical plants, I add a bunch of lianas so the lemurs can climb, obviously. And I also add all the enrichment items and also a nice climbing frame for the Fossas. This was quite a tedious process, so I didn't add all of it in the speed build because I must admit it was really boring to watch. So yeah, I haven't added all of it, so don't worry. But this is basically all that's left for this speed build. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you're really excited for the Oceanic animal pack. Oh, sorry, no, the Oceania pack. It's not an animal pack, sorry. But yeah, I hope you're really excited for the Oceania pack because it will have Tazzies, my beloved. I love them. It will have kiwis, which, you know, who doesn't like a kiwi? You know, I mean, it's not super common in zoos in general since they're mostly in nocturnal houses, but you can't say no to a kiwi, okay? And we'll be having quokkas, literally internet's best friend, and also the little blue penguin, which is also quite popular amongst a large selection of you. So enjoy the rest of the speed build, and next episode will be at the release of the Oceanic pack, so definitely stay tuned, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye bye.